Hello and welcome to Video Notes 2. So what we are doing today is still dealing with exponential growth and decay, but today we are calculating values. So last video we talked all about the graphs that show that things get really big or really small very quickly, which is what exponential growth and decay does. It uses a multiplier to multiply numbers to get bigger and bigger or smaller and smaller. So today what we're doing is using the exact same formula that we had in video 1, but this time we are using real life situations to plug numbers into each piece of the formula. So what we said in video 1 is that the number in front is my initial or my starting number. So that's how much we start with. My b, the number in parentheses, is the multiplier. It multiplies how many times this happens. And then my letter x is the exponent, and that's the number of times that this happens for. So what we're doing in this video is taking numbers and plugging them into each variable. So because we are calculating, I do suggest that you download a calculator app on your phone. So if you have an iPhone, my favorite app is called Calculator. And that app allows you to raise numbers to exponents. It makes it much easier to do calculations, and it's free for your iPhone. If you have an Android, I highly suggest you download the app that's called Wabbit EMU. Okay, so Wabbit EMU and Calculator are both versions of a Texas Instruments calculator, like the ones that we use at school. So those two would be the ones that I suggest that you use for this worksheet here. If you already have a nice calculator in your phone, you can use that. But if you do not, then it's going to make your life easier if you have one of these two calculator apps. Okay, so we're going to start with number 1. Number 1 says, New York City started with 2 cases of COVID-19. Before social distancing, the cases tripled each day. How many people had COVID-19 after 10 days? So what we need to do is come up with our starting number. So it says right here, New York City started with 2 cases of COVID-19. So I'm going to start with the number 2. That is my starting number, my initial value. Then it says before social distancing, it tripled each day. So times 3. Each day we are tripling that number. Then the question is, how many people have it after 10 days? Okay, so I'm going to go to my calculator and write 2 parentheses 3 raised to the 10th. And I'm going to get the number 118098. Holy moly, that's a lot of people. So if they didn't socially distance, and this COVID-19 was tripling every day, we would end up with 118,098 cases of COVID-19 in New York City, which would be a lot, okay? So just so you know what this is doing, my starting value was a 2, and then it's times 3. So when it says to the 10th power, if you remember what an exponent does, it just takes your base and it multiplies it 10 times. So when you do the rest of these problems, you don't have to do this. I'm just showing you what an exponent is actually doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So what it's doing is it takes my starting number, and then it takes our times 3, and it's doing that 10 times. 3 times 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 3. It's tripling every day. So it triples, and it triples again, and it triples again, and it triples, 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 until we get this really big number here. Okay, so that's what this is actually doing mathematically. It starts with the number 2, and it's tripling it. It's multiplying times 3 10 times. Okay, so you don't have to do that part of the math, but that's just a background of what this formula is doing. So we have a starting number. We have a multiplier. It tripled. For how many days? 10 days. You can type it in the calculator just like this, and you end up with 118,098 cases. Okay, go ahead and try the same thing with number 2. All right, when you're ready, let's look at number 3. So number 3 says, Clorox wipes have been flying off of the shelves. On March 10th, there were initially means the starting number, 256 packages of Clorox wipes in Walmart. This amount decreased by 1/4 each day. How many Clorox wipes were left after 5 days? Okay, so we need a starting number. So March 10th was my start date, but 256 packages is my starting amount of Clorox packages. My multiplier, it says that it's going down 1/4 each day. Be consistent with my color. So it's going down 1/4 each day. For how many days are we looking at? For this one here, it says how many Clorox wipes were there after 5 days. Okay, so I'm going to go to my calculator and I'm going to type that number in. It says 256, open parentheses, 1/4, which is just 1 divided by 4, raised to the 5th power. So in this one here, we actually end up with a decimal. There is only 0.25 of a Clorox wipe package left. So this here means that we don't even have a full pack of Clorox wipes left. We've only got 1/4 of a package left after 5 days. Not much Clorox packages here left at all. Okay, so try the exact same thing with number 4. Same idea. We have a starting number. We have a multiplier. That multiplier could be a whole number to make this thing grow, or it could be a fraction to make it decay, to make it go downward. Okay, so go ahead and try number 4. All right, this worksheet's really easy. There's only 6 questions for video notes too. So now let's try number 5. So number 5 says, Netflix has become a staple, which means really important, in many people's homes. In an apartment complex, there were initially 36 Netflix subscribers. Subscriptions have doubled every day. How many subscribers are there after 8 days? Okay, so we start with our initial value. Initial means our starting number. We start with 36 Netflix subscribers. This number is doubling every day. Doubling every day. How many subscribers are there after 8 days? So I raise it to the 8th power. That 8 is going to take that doubling and make it happen 8 times. So I type it in the calculator just like that. So I start with 36 subscribers. It's doubling raised to the 8. So now we end up with 9,216 subscribers. So we started out with only 36 people watching Netflix. Now we have 9,216. That's a big apartment complex with a lot of Netflix subscribers. Okay, when you're ready, try number 6. I'll read this one with you because there's a new word in 6. So number 6 says, It's learning, whoops, a typo. It's learning has become very popular with school out. Initially, 100 Springwood students used It's Learning every day. This number quadruples every day with online learning. How many students use It's Learning after 5 days? So the only word that was new here is the word quadruples, which means times 4. So my multiplier in number 6 is going to be the number 4. So quadruples means we are multiplying it by 4. Okay, so this is video notes 2. Go ahead and make sure you get numbers 1 through 6 done, and then head over to video notes 3.